Welcome to Educon. This is Imam with you. Today in this video we'll start learning about biological classification, which is chapter 2. In biological classification we have totally 6 sections. One is kingdom Monera, then kingdom Protista, and kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, Animalia, and viruses, viroids, and lichens. Coming to the topic, since the dawn of civilization, since when the civilization starts, there have been many attempts to classify living organisms, and it was done instinctively, not using criteria that were scientific but born out of a need to use organisms for our own use, for food, shelter, and clothing. So the classification was done not based on scientific. It is not scientifically based. So it was done instinctively. Instinctively means without applying any kind of thought. So at that time they used to classify animals based on the use of the particular animal. For example, if the animal is providing food and shelter and clothing, all these are the examples how the organisms were classified in earlier days. Aristotle was the earliest to attempt a more scientific basis for classification. He used simple morphological characters to classify plants into trees, shrubs, and herbs. He also divided animals into 2 groups, those which had red blood and those that did not. So Aristotle was the earliest, he is the first person who attempted a more scientific basis for classification. And at the time he used morphological characters to classify plants into trees, shrubs, and herbs like that. And also divided animals which contains red blood, which does not contain the red blood. In Linnaeus' time, 2 kingdom system of classification with Plantae and Animalia kingdoms were developed that included all plants and animals respectively. So in plants we have all the plants coming into the plant. Animalia, in Animalia kingdom we have all the animals coming under the Animalia kingdom. This system did not distinguish between the eukaryotes and prokaryotes, unicellular and multicellular organisms, photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic organisms. All this was not discussed in this 2 kingdom classification during Linnaeus' time. Classification of organisms into plants and animals were easily done and was easy to understand, but large number of organisms did not fall into the either category. Certain organisms, they did not come into plant or animal, so there is no any kingdom or any classification for such organisms. Hence the 2 kingdom classification used for a long time was found inadequate, means it is not sufficient to put certain organism in those 2 sections like Plantae kingdom and Animalia kingdom. Besides gross morphology, a need was also felt for including other characteristics like cell structure, nature of wall, mode of nutrition, habitat, methods of reproduction, and evolutionary relationships. So we need to put all these are the important characteristics like cell structure, nature of wall, nutrition, habitat, methods of reproduction. These are all needed to classify the organism. Classification systems for living organisms have hence undergone several changes over the time. So at the time, since before earlier it was Aristotle who attempted a more scientific basis, and he made some observance, and he classified the plants on basis of morphological characters. Then it was Linnaeus' time. Then again we need to evolve because certain organisms are not coming into the growth kingdom which was proposed by Linnaeus. Again, classification system for the living organisms undergone several changes over time. Yes, it changes over time. Though plant and animal kingdom have been a constant under all different systems, the understanding of what groups or organisms be included under these kingdoms have been changing. The number and nature of other kingdoms have also been understood differently by different scientists over the time. So in different time, the scientists used to discover something and so has been included. So it keep on changing according to the scientists and the time. Here in this table, this is a 5-kingdom classification. It was proposed by R.H. Whitaker in 1969. Okay, he proposed a 5-kingdom classification. We have it here. In one column we have characters, and another we have 5 kingdoms. One is Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. So characters, will study each and independent characters here. Cell type, in Monera it is prokaryote. Okay, and in Protista, fungi, plantae, animalia, they are all eukaryotic cell. And cell wall, in Monera it is made up of non-cellulosic polysaccharide and plus amino acid, that is made up of. Whereas in Protist, some cells they have cell wall and some it doesn't have any kind of cell wall. In fungi, the cell wall is made up of chitin, and plantae, it is mainly made up of cellulose. It is cell wall is present in plantae also. And animalia, there is no any kind of cell wall, which is absent totally. So here again in cell type, see, Protista, fungi, plantae, animal, they are all comes under eukaryotic cell. Okay, whereas Monera only prokaryotic. So only Monera kingdom contains prokaryotic cell. Again, nuclear membrane, it is absent in only Monera, that is prokaryotes. Whereas Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia, all those cells they contain nuclear membrane. Coming to body organization, in Monera, Protista, they are cellular. In fungi, multicellular. Whereas in plant, tissue and organ also. Whereas in animals, tissue, organ, and organ systems. Okay. And mode of nutrition, in Monera, that is prokaryotic bacteria, autotrophic and heterotrophic. Again in autotrophic, there is a chemosynthetic and photosynthetic mode of nutrition. In heterotrophic, saprophytic, parasitic. Okay. Coming to Protista, autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic, we have only photosynthetic. There is no any chemosynthetic. Chemosynthetic mode of nutrition only in kingdom Monera, that is prokaryotic cells. Coming to fungi, heterotrophic nutrition, that is saprophytic and parasitic. Coming to plants, it is autotrophic, that is photosynthetic. Means they are photosynthetic. It contains photosynthetic, that is autotrophic mode of nutrition. In animals, heterotrophic. In heterotrophic we have halozoic and saprophytic type mode of nutrition. So R.H. Whitaker first proposed 5-kingdom classification. The kingdom defined by him name Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. So in this table we have certain things to remember here. Prokaryote cells, they are only present in Monera. Okay, and also the cell wall. Okay, in fungi, what is the in chitin is present in the cell wall of fungi. So this is also important, chitin. And also like mode of nutrition, autotrophic and heterotrophic, both chemosynthetic kind of nutrition. This nutrition occurs in Monera only. This we need to remember. Domain system has also been proposed that divides the kingdom Monera into 2 domains, leaving the remaining eukaryotic kingdom in the 3rd domain, and thereby a 6th kingdom classification. So here there was a time again a 3-domain system has also been proposed, which divides the kingdom Monera. So kingdom Monera itself is divided into 2 kingdoms, leaving the remaining eukaryotic kingdoms in the 3rd domain, and thereby a 6th kingdom of classification. And all those things you learn about in higher classes. Let us look at this 5-kingdom classification to understand the issues and consideration that influence the classification system. First, we will understand this 5-kingdom classification properly. Earlier classification systems included bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, mosses, ferns, gymnosperms, and the angiosperms. Under plants, all this comes under plant. From where bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, mosses, ferns, gymnosperms, and angiosperms, which comes under plant. The character that unified this whole kingdom was that all organisms included had a cell wall in their cells. This is important. These place together groups which widely differed in other characteristics. They might be having a cell wall which is common, but they differ widely in other characteristics. It brought together the prokaryotic bacteria and the blue-green algae, that is cyanobacteria, with other groups which were eukaryotic. It also grouped together the unicellular organism and the multicellular organism. For example, Chlamydomonas, Spirogyra were placed together under algae. The classification did not differentiate between the heterotrophic group fungi and the autotrophic green plants. So this classification does not differentiate between the heterotrophic group and autotrophic green plants. Though they also showed a characteristic difference in their cell wall composition, whereas the fungi had chitin in their cell walls, while the green plants had cellulosic cell wall. When such characteristics were considered, the fungi were placed in a separate kingdom called kingdom fungi. All prokaryotic organisms were grouped together under kingdom Monera, and the unicellular eukaryotic organisms were placed in the kingdom Protista. Kingdom Protista has brought together Chlamydomonas, Chlorella which was earlier placed in algae within plants and both having cell walls, with Chlamydomonas Chlorella with Paramecium and Amoeba, which were earlier placed in the animal kingdom which lacks cell wall. It has put together organisms which in earlier classification were placed in different kingdoms. This happened because the criteria for classification changed. At the time, based on the cell wall, they differentiate the organisms into different kingdoms. These kind of changes will take place in future too, depending on the improvement in our understanding of characteristics and evolutionary relationships. Over time, an attempt has been made to evolve a classification system which reflects not only morphological, physiological and reproductive similarities, but is also phylogenetic, that is based on evolutionary relationships. In this chapter, we will discuss about the kingdom Monera, Protista and fungi, how we take a system of classification. The other kingdom like plant and animal will refer in separate chapters like chapter 3 and 4, exclusive for kingdom of plant and animal. Thank you, and please, after watching the video, after listening to the video, kindly go through the topic and revise it as much as you can and understand it properly. And please subscribe and follow my channel. Thank you.